Hi, welcome to Biology Classes with Lakshmi Chandra. Today, let's focus our attention on one of the most beautiful experiments ever done in the field of biology. So this experiment is related to the DNA replication which we have completed in the previous session. So this experiment proves the nature of DNA replication. So I hope you remember the nature of DNA replication that I had taught you in the last video. It is semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So this video actually takes you towards that experiment which proved that the mode of DNA replication is semi-conservative. So first let's have a knowledge regarding who those scientists were who proved that DNA is semi-conservative in nature. Its replication is semi-conservative in nature. Okay. So those two scientists are Matthew Meselson and Franklin Stahl. So it is commonly called as Meselson and Stahl experiment. Okay. Matthew Meselson and Franklin Stahl proved the semi-conservative nature of DNA replication. So before going directly into the experiment, let me just tell you what were the previous notions that were there in the mind of scientists regarding the mode of replication of DNA. So as you all know that in the year 1953, that great discovery was done, elucidation of structure of DNA by Watson and Crick, okay, along with Rosalind Franklin. It was done. So, and Maurence Wilkins were also part of that. So, four of them actually, their heads they put together and they had found out elucidated the structure of DNA, the double helical nature of DNA. So, at that time itself, it was predicted that it is the complementary nature of DNA which is something to do with its replication. But then how it is replicating was a great mystery. It has to be unraveled. So there were many views regarding the replication of DNA. One view was that it is called as conservative view. DNA replication is conservative in nature. This was one view. So what is this? Under this view, it was thought that you have a DNA molecule, okay? This DNA molecule remains as such and it produces another new DNA molecule. That means there is no change happening with this parent DNA. The parent DNA remains as such and it is producing a new DNA molecule. This was one view. Another view was of DNA replication was called as the dispersive view. Dispersive view of DNA replication. According to this view, the parent DNA was cut into pieces. Okay, the parent DNA was cut into pieces like this. Small pieces. The parent DNA was cut into pieces and each of these pieces gave rise to new DNA molecules. Each of these pieces gave rise to new DNA molecules and later on this old DNA and the new DNA were aligned one after the other. So ultimately after dispersive replication, this was the nature. Old DNA is there. Along with that, the newly formed DNA will be there. Sorry, I'll draw that properly and I'll show to you. You have the old strand of DNA and that runs along with the new strand of DNA followed again by the old strand and then the new strand likewise. So these will be joined one after the other, and ultimately you will get a DNA which is having pieces of old strand and pieces of new strand. Likewise it was. So, and then the third nature of DNA replication was said to be semi-conservative. Semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So according to this view, they thought that the parent DNA first they separated their strands. These two strands were separated, and after these strands are separated, new strands will be formed that will be complementary to the existing parental strand. So the new strand, old strand is there. Along with that, a new strand is formed which is complementary to the existing parental strand. So these were the three views according to which were there in the earlier centuries. But after 1953, immediately after the DNA structure was elucidated, scientists were thinking, okay, some of them thought it is conservative in nature. That means parental strand is remaining as such without any change. That is conservative. Dispersive means it is cut into pieces and you have old, new like this, dispersed and kept. And in semi-conservative, after finally the DNA is formed, always one strand will be parental and another one will be newly one. So half of the strand is conserved, that is semi-conservative mode. And then Matthew Meselson and Franklin Stahl, they wanted to find out among these three, which one is the proper mode of DNA replication. And for that, they designed an experiment to prove it. The experimental organism was E. coli. You know about this bacterium E. coli, Escherichia coli. Okay, so this was the experimental organism, and what they did is they grew this E. coli in a medium. Medium means the food that we give for E. coli. So in that food we add some carbon source, we add some nitrogen sources likewise. So here the scientists were focusing on the nitrogen source that was given, because we know DNA is having the nitrogenous basis. Okay, so the scientists were focusing on the nitrogen content or the nitrogenous content that was there in the medium. So in the first set of experiments, they grew E. coli in ammonium chloride medium. So ammonium chloride was the nitrogen source provided, and this is having a normal nitrogen. You know the isotopes of nitrogen, there are two isotopes of nitrogen. N14 is the normal isotope and N15 is a heavy isotope. I hope you know the meaning of isotope, having the same atomic number but different mass numbers. So they have grown E. coli in the first set with having nitrogen, which is normal nitrogen, by providing normal ammonium chloride. And then what they did is they isolated the DNA. After one generation, they isolated the DNA. After one generation means after 20 minutes. We know after every 20 minutes, bacteria divides into two. So after 20 minutes, the DNA was isolated and the density was analyzed. I'll tell you how the density was analyzed. Okay. Again, in the second set of experiments, they grew another set of E. coli, but now the medium is having a slightly different form of ammonium chloride. It is having a heavy isotope of nitrogen, so N15. These are heavy and light isotopes. They are not radioactive isotopes. So we can distinguish them because one is heavy and one is light. We can distinguish them only based on their density. Okay, so the second set of experiment also they did the same thing. They grew E. coli on ammonium chloride, but this time they changed it to a heavy isotope of nitrogen, and then again after 20 minutes, here also after one generation, The DNA was isolated and their densities were analyzed. So now I think you understood why the density is analyzed, because to distinguish between these two, whether this heavy isotope has got into this DNA of E. coli or not, they have to analyze. Similarly, whether this light isotope is there or not, they have to just distinguish between these two. So they have taken the density as a factor for distinguishing between these two. So you know, density is mass by volume. This is known. Density is mass by volume. So the volume of DNA or the amount of DNA in this E. coli will remain constant. There is no change. But then what is differing here is the mass number, is the amount, is the mass of DNA. One is heavy, another one is light. So they wanted to analyze this density. Okay, so how did they analyze? What method did they follow? That we all have to understand it a bit clearly. They followed the method of centrifugation, and it is not a normal centrifugation. They followed the method of density gradient centrifugation. We all know centrifugation method is a method of separation, and there are many different types of centrifugation methods. So here Messelson and Stahl followed density gradient centrifugation. And under this density gradient centrifugation, again there are two types: rate zonal density gradient centrifugation and equilibrium or isopycnic density gradient centrifugation. There are two categories. Among these two, which one did Messelson and Stahl take? They had taken equilibrium or isopycnic density gradient centrifugation. So let me just tell you in a nutshell what equilibrium density gradient centrifugation is. Okay, so that is very important for us to understand this whole experiment, because this is the principle on which they had separated, and that is the principle on which the whole experiment lies, principle of equilibrium or density gradient centrifugation. So here, as the name suggests, there is a gradient. There is a gradient. Gradient means something which is kept from high to low or low to high in a proper order. That is, there is a gradient. Gradient of what? Gradient of density. Okay. So whose density gradient is taken here into account is actually the density gradient of a solution called as cesium chloride. Usually whenever equilibrium density gradient centrifugation is done, we do it with the help of a solution called as cesium chloride. What we do is we make cesium chloride solutions which differ in their densities or in their amount. For example, you prepare a cesium chloride solution. Say for example 2 grams of cesium chloride solution dissolved in 1 ml of water. 2 grams in 1 ml. Okay. So this is gram per ml, 2 grams in 1 ml. This is, I have prepared one solution of cesium chloride. Now I am preparing another solution of cesium chloride, 1.8 gram per ml. This is the second solution I have prepared. I am going to prepare a third solution, 1.6 gram per ml. This is the third solution. Again fourth one, 1.4 gram per ml. Fourth one. Okay. Fifth one, 1.2 gram per ml. This is the fifth solution I have prepared. Then again 1 gram per ml. This is the sixth solution I have prepared. So I have prepared different solutions of cesium chloride. They differ in their amounts, they differ in their densities. Volume is same per ml only, but their mass is differing, so their densities are different. Okay, so now when I mix this solution and you place it inside a tube, this solution, they get settled slowly according to their densities. So always, heavier ones will be there at the bottom, lighter ones will be there at the top. So naturally, this will be there at the bottom and this layer will be there at the top. Okay, so a solution having 2 grams density will be here. cesium chloride, 2 gram. And above this I can place having 1.8 gram. That solution will be somewhere here, 1.8. Then followed by here 1.6. Then 1.4. 1.2 and here 1 gram. So here I have prepared, I have taken a tube, and in this tube what is there? The solution of cesium chloride is there. But this solution is not having a uniform density. It is having different densities arranged in a particular gradient. And I know what is the density in each region. This is known to me. Okay, so heavy here, and as I go up, the density becomes lighter and lighter. Now, if I place any molecule into this solution and I subject this to centrifugation, what will happen is that molecule will settle down at a point where its density is equal to its surrounding solution. So suppose I have taken a molecule, say I have taken a molecule X, for example. I have put it inside this and I am subjecting this to centrifugation. What will happen? This X will settle down, say suppose if its density is around 1.6 or between 1.6 and 1.4, it will settle down somewhere here. So I can understand what is the density of this particular molecule X. It is between 1.4 and 1.6. Now again I can prepare another solution of cesium chloride having a gradation between 1.4 and 1.6. 1.6, 1.5, 1.4 I can prepare. So maybe it will settle at 1.5 or between 1.5 and 1.4. Then again I can prepare a solution having 1.4, say 1.41, 1.42 likewise, and then coming to 1.5. So likewise I can prepare solutions of many gradations and I can ultimately find out what is the density of this molecule. Now here, what is the relation of this cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation and this experiment? It's quite clear. We have to understand or analyze what? They have to analyze the densities. So, if they have taken the DNA from the first case, that is E. coli in this case, which was grown in normal isotope of ammonium chloride, then DNA is quite light, isn't it? Quite light. So that DNA will be settling in which place? It will be somewhere on the top. My DNA will be here, somewhere here on the top. But in the second case, I have taken a heavy isotope of ammonium chloride. So naturally, its DNA will be heavy. So if its DNA has taken this ammonium chloride, then that DNA, so this is N14 DNA. So this N15 DNA will be somewhere below. N15 DNA will be somewhere below. So now, based on this density gradient centrifugation, I can analyze the density of my DNA molecules. Okay. Now, the third case and the most important case, what they did is, what the scientists did is, in the third case, some of the E. coli which were growing in N15 medium, okay, some of the E. coli which were growing in N15 medium, some of these E. coli cells which were growing in N15, they were transferred to N14 medium. So from N15 they were transferred to N14 medium and they were allowed to grow there for 20 minutes. That means to complete one generation. And then the same thing they repeated. They isolated the DNA from there and again the density was analyzed. So the next case, they have isolated the DNA E. coli from here. So these E. coli cells were growing in N15. So all their DNA is having now N15 in them. From that, a few E. coli were taken and they were made to grow in N14 medium and for one generation. And then the DNA was taken and analyzed for their densities. So in that case, when the DNA was analyzed for their densities, they found that the DNA in the third case did not settle at the top or at the bottom. They had a density somewhere here. This is the third case. So first case, the density was here in N14 medium. In N15 medium, the density is here. And in the third case, when they did, the density is neither on the top nor at the bottom, but was there in between them. And based on this, they again went back to the three modes of DNA replication: conservative, dispersive and semi-conservative. Okay, so coming back to those three modes of DNA replication, they concluded that if it was a conservative mode, of DNA replication, then conservative means there should be the parental strand and there should be a new strand. So here, which is the parental strand? Parental strand is having N15 and the new strand should have N14. New strand is having N14. So in this case, both heavy and light, here heavy and light should have been shown. But it is not shown like that. Neither heavy nor light is shown here. Something else is coming. A hybrid of both is coming. Heavy is there and light is also there. Neither light nor heavy. Something in between. If it was conservative, according to conservative law, what is it? After DNA replication, there will be one parental strand one parental DNA and another one newly formed. In that case, heavy and light bands should be shown here, but it is not so. So straight away from this first experiment itself, the conservative mode of DNA replication, that was disproved. So now their focus is whether it is dispersive or semi-conservative. Okay. In both those cases, in dispersive as well as in semi-conservative cases, what is the result? In dispersive, in the case of dispersive, you will have the parental DNA and a newly formed DNA. Again a parental DNA and a newly formed DNA. This is the case of dispersive, isn't it? Okay, in that case, this can be true because this is neither heavy nor light but in between. So this can be true, either a heavy nor a light one, but it is in between these two, a combination. So it can be dispersive. It can be dispersive. Now, what was the third mode that we have seen is semi-conservative. In semi-conservative also, how is the DNA? The newly formed DNA, one strand is newly formed, one strand is parental, and the other strand is newly formed. So in this case also, this result can come. So in dispersive as well as in semi-conservative, this result is true. But DNA cannot replicate in both these manner. It can replicate among these two, any one manner only it can replicate, isn't it? So in the third case, they grew E. coli in N15 medium and then transferred from here to another medium which is having light isotope of ammonium chloride, N14 medium. And after 20 minutes after growing there, they isolated the DNA and they found out that the density is intermediate which disproved the conservative mode of DNA replication, but still the other two modes, that is whether it is semi-conservative or dispersive, was still there in the mind. Okay. Now again they further did the experiment, like they further isolated the DNA after 40 minutes. That means after 20 minutes they did this. After that again after 20 minutes they did the other one. That means totally after growing E. coli in N14 medium for 2 generations. So after 40 minutes means after 2 generations. So after 20 minutes means after 1 generation. After 1 generation, when they took the DNA, all the DNA had intermediate density, neither on the top nor at the bottom. But after 2 generations, that means after 40 minutes, when they isolated the DNA and when they analyzed the density, they found that some of the DNA had intermediate density, but some of them had light density. That means they were on the top. So it was something like this. When they analyzed in the centrifugation tube, they found that a few DNA molecule, they had intermediate density here. A few DNA molecule was here having intermediate density, and some other DNA molecules were there on the top. So they were light DNA. They couldn't find any DNA here at the bottom. So what does this prove? So this actually have to be related to dispersive view and semi-conservative view. So according to this dispersive view, always the DNA should have intermediate density, isn't it? Because according to dispersive view, the DNA will divide into pieces, will be cut into pieces, and ultimately they will form new DNA strands, new DNA molecules, and one old DNA will be attached to a new DNA. Again an old one and new one. So that is dispersive view. In that case, always the DNA, even after 2 generations, 4, 6, 10, let it be any number of generations, always the density should be intermediate according to dispersive view. But after second generation itself, they got that there are DNA molecules which is having light density also. Always we are not getting intermediate. There is DNA having light density also. So this disproved semi-conservative mode also. But then let us see whether it is proving the conservative mode or not. So according to this semi-conservative mode, you have a DNA which at the time of multiplication, that means after 1 generation, if it has to divide into 2, the 2 strands will separate out and then new strand will be formed, right? And if again after, so this is first generation. Second generation means each of these 2 strands should separate out, isn't it? So if this DNA has to replicate, this strand is separating. This red color that I have shown is newly synthesized strand, that is also getting separated, and then for each of them newly synthesized strand will be formed. So every time parental strand is dividing into 2 and newly synthesized strands are getting formed. So here, now let me correlate this with the heavy strand and the light strand. What is shown here in the experiment. Now where is our E. coli? Our E. coli is in N14 medium. Where was it before? It was in N15 medium. Now we have taken this into N14 medium. Okay. So before it was in N15. So almost all the DNA molecule which is there in N15 medium, let me draw that with a red color. So N15 medium. Both the strands are heavy. In N15, when you grow for 20 minutes, DNA was isolated, DNA is heavy. Okay. Now, what is done? It is taken to another medium, N14 medium, and there again you are growing it for 20 minutes. So now it is completing one generation there. So according to semi-conservative view, first what happens? These two strands are getting separated, right? These two strands got separated. Now in the second case where it is growing in N14 medium. So N14 I am just drawing with a black color. So newly synthesized strand nitrogenous bases are coming from the N14 one. So this is my N14. Okay, and this red color that I have shown here both strands are N15. So this is also N15. This is parental N15. Okay, so now it is grown on N14. So newly synthesized strand will be N14. Sorry for that, DNA N14. So this is in one generation. So you can see here one strand is red, another one is black, or one is 15, another one is 14. So that is why after 20 minutes I got intermediate density. Now again the same I am going to grow in N14 only. After again the next 20 minutes, that is after 40 minutes, again I am isolating the DNA and I am finding out the density. I got a density like this. So whether it is proving semi-conservative or not, let us see. So this is after 20 minutes, isn't it? Again after 20 minutes, let me take this E. coli cell, E. coli having this particular DNA. So after 20 minutes means it has to separate. So red, this is what I am drawing. Red is separated, black is separated. Okay, so N15 is here, parental strand, N14 of the parental strand is here. Now where it is growing? It is growing in N14. So N14 again 20 minutes is growing in N14 only. So N14 I will be drawing with black. So all the N14 is coming here and again N14 is coming here. So what did I get? I got here one intermediate and another one light. That is what they got, intermediate and light. Now let me take the next E. coli also, this one. This one. Here also same thing will be there. These two strands will separate out. Red and black will separate out. Then where they are growing in N14 only, isn't it? So when they are growing in N14, the newly synthesized strand will be black one. So same result I will get for this one also. So every time I am getting what? I am getting DNA having intermediate density and another DNA having light density. So this clearly proves the semi-conservative mode of DNA. Not only that, this also disproves the other two modes of DNA replication, that is dispersive mode and the conservative mode of DNA replication. So here we end with the experiments. Now let us focus our attention on a few questions that can be asked. So CBSE can sometimes directly ask you about this beautiful experiment of Messelson and Stahl, which proved the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So at that point of time you must write about what semi-conservative mode is, and you should start your experiment from here. It was grown in N15 medium, heavy isotope of nitrogen, and they isolated the DNA and they got the DNA to be heavy. So they isolated the DNA and they analyzed the density using density gradient centrifugation in cesium chloride medium. They found their DNA to be heavy. Later they transferred this into another medium, N14 medium, and when after growing there for one generation or say 20 minutes when it was isolated, the density was found to be intermediate. When the same thing was repeated for another 20 minutes, so till a total of 40 minutes, or for second generation, they got DNA having intermediate density and light DNA. So this proved the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So instead of this intermediate density, the DNA having intermediate density here, this DNA is sometimes called as a hybrid DNA. Hybrid. It is having a light chain and a heavy chain. That's why it is having. Now the board, it can be asked, they can just ask you like it is grown for 2 generations here, and in the 3rd generation, if they are growing it in N15 medium, then how it will be? How many intermediate, how many light, how many heavy DNA you are going to get? Okay, so next after 20 minutes, that is totally after 60 minutes, or after till 40 minutes it is here. Now next 20 minutes you are going to grow here. Okay, so I'll put that as 20 minutes. Next 20 minutes we are going to grow it in N15 medium. 20 minutes. So you should know till here 40 minutes how was the DNA? One is intermediate, one is light. One is intermediate and one is light. Next 20 minutes you are going to grow it in N15. So how it will be? How it will be? Just in your exam point of view, you need not draw and analyze all these things. Just draw 2 lines right over there, N14 and N15, and quickly you will get the answer. Because you just have 3 hours time and you have to write a lot of answers to think and write. So now this is the case. What is the case? 15, 14, intermediate. 15, 14. This is one. Another one is 14, 14. This is your parental DNA. Okay. Now you're going to grow it in which one? In 15 you are going to grow. So separate this out. In the first case you separate this. 15 separated from 14. These 2 strands separated. Now in which one it is growing? You just analyze that. It is growing in N15. So along with this you write 15. So 15 minutes it is going to be heavy. It is heavy. 14 along with 15 means it is hybrid. So you got one heavy, one hybrid. This way you can simply write the numbers, you can get it. What about next one? This just separate out. First thing is separate out. Separate these 2 strands. And then see in the question paper in which one it is growing. It is supposed to grow in N15. So along with this you write N15. 15, 15 written. So it is 2 different ones. 14, 15. So it is going to be a hybrid. In this case also it is going to be a hybrid. Again the question can be asked, it is next grown in N14, what it will be? Now for that, this is your parental strand. You separate these 2. It is going to be growing in N14 means along with 14, another 14 will come. Along with 15, another 14 will come. So this is going to be hybrid, this is going to be light. So every time remember, in which medium it is asked. Suppose you are going to grow it in heavy medium, then always one DNA you will get heavy, another DNA you will get hybrid. If you are going to grow it in light isotope, N14 isotope, then one will be light, another one will be hybrid. It is always like that. So this point you can keep it in mind. And if you have any confusion, just slightly write like this and try to analyze. So today we have completed the most beautiful experiment in biology, Michelson and Stahl experiment. You can just understand, see how they framed the experiment, and the principle of this is all based on the density gradient centrifugation in cesium chloride. Okay, and how this DNA is actually replicating was completed in the previous session. The process of DNA replication, the wonderful enzymes which actually orchestrate the process of DNA replication and all were completed in the previous session. So in order to focus on that and analyze that and understand it, do subscribe the channel and go through the sessions, go through the playlist and watch it. Come with your comments, your suggestions. I'm waiting for that. Thank you all.